welcome back to the Smart Tank Revolution, where we always kick out at 2, even after a 45-minute long watch that we just endured. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured it out, he is Donnie Wonderful.
I am
Joey Business. And we just watched WWE's offering of Backlash.
And let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. I want to dive head first. Yeah, all right, we'll start at the main event.
Right at the main event.
Actually, hold on. Let me back up real quick because the pre-show match was really good, and I remember saying the pre-show match was the United States title match between
I know it was
Apollo Crews and Andrade. And I have no idea why they delegated that to a pre-show. It was actually a really good match, and it should have been on the card, man. Like, I just completely don't understand the concept. I can't grasp what the purpose of a pre-show is if it's not just speculation of a panel. I don't. Why would we have pre-show matches that deserve to be on the card unless it's something,
Agreed.
Like a battle royal or something. I don't know, man. I'll just never be won over by a pre-show. And I challenge anyone. If there's been a great pre-show match, tell me where I can find one.
I have no idea. If there is one, it was tonight. It was definitely a good match. It was unbelievably a good match. I was so impressed with it as far as, I like Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he definitely deserves a break. And it's nice to see him not just get jobbed out and have to give back the belt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So where are they going to go from here with Apollo now that they've taken Paul Heyman off of Creative and Raw?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because that was a Paul Heyman push right there.
Right.
So, because I guess like the philosophy is that Paul wanted like the younger guys to come in and be more of an impact on the show.
Exactly.
That's why you guys like Selena Vega, Ricochet. Yeah.
Who is now.
Where is Ricochet?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. He belonged on the pre-show, and he didn't even get it. It's very interesting. I mean, the booking through this whole pandemic has been very interesting, to say the least, because they're trying out some new things, and they're throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks, and a lot of the stuff is not sticking, in my view. I might be the minority here, but a lot of it is not sticking. And they're not long-term booking at all anymore. It's like just this slapdash thrown together.
Well, yeah.
It's really bad.
They're throwing mud on the wall and seeing whatever sticks because it's been notoriously and infamously known that Vince is going to change the script at the 11th hour. Yeah. So why would you even have any type of investment in any long-term plan if it could just be changed?
Yeah, but I mean, like, for example, you have this Intercontinental tournament, right? Mm-hmm. And it ended on SmackDown with a really great match between AJ and Daniel Bryan. Right. That should have absolutely been on the pay-per-view to give it some, some clout. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead, we get, hey, ho, ho, Ms. Morrison, gotta go. Like, it's awful. And I'm a Miz fan. I also like John Morrison. I always have. I liked him in Lucha Underground. I've liked him in just about everywhere he's wrestled. But I was thoroughly disappointed to see that match. What is that match even doing on the card? It's just an embarrassment match. Which, the funniest thing is, we watched it. It was an embarrassing match. Morrison, they had some good double teams, and it's a good house show match. Like, if you were at a house show.
Yeah, but you knew already that those two, either one of those wasn't gonna beat Braun Strowman clean and win the title. Like, so
there was no jeopardy for Strowman the whole time.
Right.
And that was what made it a little tougher.
But we did say, and I'll bring us back to it. We did say that we were going to start with the main event that just ended about 20 minutes ago. Less than 20 minutes ago. Went on for about 45 minutes. Edge and Randy Orton, the greatest wrestling match of all time.
Greatest wrestling match.
What about that crowd?
Holy shit. All I know is those 12 people, if you get them in Foxborough,
oh man,
the Patriots now have a 12th man.
Hey, listen, those 12 to 13 people were the most energetic,
the most
compassionate. Oh my God! Did you hear the "This is awesome" chants?
Yeah, I mean they were so loud.
Look, they had the Performance Center rocking tonight.
Yeah, the roof came off.
Hey, listen, I want these guys at my wedding. I want these guys at any graduate. I mean, I graduated college and all that stuff before, but if I'll go back just to get them there. Yeah, exactly. I want them at a bar mitzvah. I want these guys at my funeral. I want these 13 or 15 people had the place rocking tonight. And did you hear Vicky Guerrero or somebody? I was
about to say, that girl who sounded just like Vicky Guerrero, that was an amazing impression.
What about the fake? The fake with the intros?
Oh, I mean, so I was just reading before we hopped on because that's what I do. I like to check out 411 to see what gets torn apart.
Shout out to 411.
Always love 411 wrestling. Big... rest in peace, Larry Zonka, because he was amazing reviewer. He reviewed every hour of wrestling that was in existence every week. Every federation, every indie fed, everything. It was incredible. So it was interesting, and it's very sad to see. I would have loved to get his reaction on this, because I can just hear him up there right now. He's tearing this match apart as far as the crowd noise goes. Listen, we're in a WWE era right now, and in wrestling era in general, where it's overproduced. Yeah. Where the production values have gone up about 1,000%, but they're not necessary at all times. You know.
And I hope are you referencing the Street Profits and?
Yeah, my God, like all these cinematic events, like. Okay, with Undertaker and AJ Styles, that was an event that will last forever, and it was brilliant, and it was beautiful, and it was like an amazing masterpiece.
But do you agree that, like, okay, so when we're referencing the Boneyard match at WrestleMania. Yeah. Now, I enjoyed it. I liked watching it, but it felt like I was watching an episode or something rather than a wrestling match.
Yeah, you felt like you were watching a movie.
Okay, good. Okay.
But it was an amazing way to utilize The Undertaker and hide some of his flaws right now. Not to mention, they wouldn't have put on anything as near as entertaining as that match between the two of them.
Okay.
They just wouldn't have.
Then what about the production of Stadium Stampede?
So the two best things out of this era for production values, for cinematic matches, we'll call them, the Boneyard's number one. It was brilliant. I could watch it 100 times. And Stadium Stampede's a very close number two.
Right, but the conviction that you have is as if you're watching one of your favorite movies, because we say when these production valued matches, and I use air quotes when I say it, they're not actual matches. They're more, like I said, more like episodes, stuff I can watch over and over and over and be entertained by. Yeah. But in the grand scheme, I'm never gonna say the Boneyard match was as good as the Iron Man match, something like that. So like what I'm saying is, even though they're both really, I mean, obviously the Iron Man match is phenomenal, but I'm just saying, like, there's two kind of categories for them, and I'm glad that you let off with saying that in this era what we're getting, because we had quite a few thus far. We had
the
quite
Money
a few.
in the Bank, which was entertaining, but I was scratching my head at how it was done and how it ended, and it was really sloppily finished, I think. Mm-hmm. Then we had the Adam Cole in the Dream, which was interesting, but it didn't hit the mark for me. Mm-hmm. And then we've had others, like tonight we had the Street Profits versus Ninjas with the Viking Raiders. I mean,
and Shaq, that was Big Shaq.
That was most definitely Shaquille O'Neal. They were in Orlando, and it was just 100% them. But back to the match. So they build this thing as the greatest wrestling match ever. Mm-hmm. You knew it wasn't going to just come down and be a straight up wrestling match without pomp and circumstance.
Okay.
So they had to add something for you to remember it by. And I think at first I was like, this is corny as hell, when they had the microphone with the lights and it was supposed to be the Fink announcing them from heaven with the recording.
Yeah.
But then as I just read the 411 and was thinking about it for a few moments, it was a nice tribute to the Fink. It
Okay.
wasn't like disrespectful to him or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, all right, that's okay. It's not that bad. I could have done with the natural crowd noise for this match because it was so technically sound. They really worked to their strengths. Where they failed at WrestleMania, because they failed big time in my eyes. At
interesting.
What was it called? Last Man Standing?
Yeah.
It was horrible. I thought it was one of the worst of the Last Man Standing matches I've ever seen.
Okay.
This was infinitely better. It was definitely, like, if this was Edge's last match, it was a good match to go out on. The only thing I don't like is, and we ripped it apart.
Yeah, we sure did.
Crowd.
The piped-in crowd noise
was, listen, you had maybe a little over a dozen people there in attendance. And that crowd noise was 1,000-something people, thousands of people.
That was stadium.
It was stadium. And it's like, come on. You're insulting our intelligence at this point. Like, we know that is not the dozen people
right
in front of us. And the worst part was, it was like a really bad movie dub because it wasn't linking up with their mannerisms or anything. Like, you would have this, like, a spot would be hit and it would be a big, like, roar, but people's hands were at their side.
Yeah. This really makes me have to go back and I'm likely going to rewatch it on mute just to see if if I'm able to appreciate what I was seeing. The two I don't like to call them performers. The two professional wrestlers. Sorry, Vince, but just to see if I can appreciate what they were doing in the ring.
Yeah.
Because I was entertained by it, but I was also entertained by knocking the piped-in crowd noises too. Like, I was more entertained by that. Like, listen to these 15 people go crazy.
I was entertained by making fun of it and ripping.
Yeah,
it apart,
and that's what we did for the 45 minutes of this match.
For at least 40 of it. But the home stretch was something really special. I thought it was really well done, the home stretch.
Yeah, but why? I mean, what is the purpose of finishes if everyone is kicking out of them?
But they've been kicking out of them for the past 10-something years.
And that's what nullifies it to me. It's like, they're called finishers for a reason. Like, what finisher is going to be protected if everybody's kicking out of like a dozen RKOs now?
There is no protected finishers in this business, I don't think, anymore. I don't think they have a protected finisher. I can't name one.
How many people's kicked out of in the days? And I bring Baron Corbin up because I know you don't like Baron Corbin.
Through the whole night without Baron Corbin reference.
But not many, right?
No, not many.
Like back in the day, Hogan with his atomic leg drop. Mm-hmm. It was, I wouldn't call it blasphemy, but like damn near reprehensible for you to even conceive of anybody kicking out of that. Right. Like finishers have their place and purpose in this business, in this sport, and they're just being thrown around like rag dolls now. You know what I mean? Like I need for there to be one that I can respect again, just like I did, back in the '90s, the new generation in the Attitude Eras. I mean they were kicking out of like not multiple stunners, but still it took multiple stunners to beat a guy. But they like now, it's every other move. How many RKOs was performed today?
At least 3 or 4. At least.
I can remember 2 offhand, but like I'm just saying. Like Edge with the spear. So if he kicks out of your RKO, you're gonna kick out of his spear. It's like it's becoming too predictable with that now.
Yeah, it's becoming a little bit much with everything. It's like, at least one thing I can say, the main event was overproduced, only from noise and audio standpoint. At least it wasn't visually overproduced where it was this really pathetic attempt at editing and really bad. Like, they let it play out. It was very organic how long it went, because it went a long-ass time. It went 45-something minutes, and it was...
the only thing really produced, getting back to your point, the only thing that was really produced on it was just the crowd noise. Obviously, the crowd wasn't there, so obviously what we saw wasn't a live match.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely recorded. And I remember reading that it was taped like a few weeks in advance. Now, I don't know if that was for a certain reason or what it was, but it was crazy because I didn't. Is Matthew McConaughey with a little person?
Matthew McConaughey is. We also have The Last Ride playing.
Playing in the background, but Matthew McConaughey is either there with his child or a very little date, and I'm not sure which one because they won't show her face. But anyways, yeah, so back to this. I mean, I gotta rewatch it, unfortunately, under lower audio to see if it lives up to anything close to being billed as the greatest wrestling match ever.
Agreed.
Because I'll be honest, I'm reading 411, and I was like, 411 is going to rip this apart. Call it like give it 2 stars, give it nothing. It got 4.5 stars.
So
out of 5.
Question for you, Mr. Business,
wow.
On our illustrious rating scale, 1 count, 2 count, 3 count.
It's definitely a 3 count.
You give it a 3 count.
Yeah, of course.
Even without rewatching it.
Yeah, it's a 3 count.
A 3 count is phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah,
in case you didn't know. So
it's a 3 count.
So then you agree with 411 to a degree.
I wouldn't give it 5 stars if on that rating system.
But on our rating system, we tip the scale. I mean, that's the best you can give it.
Well, it's only because our rating system, it needs some work. We've got DQ, 1 count, 2 count, 3 count. There needs to be
I opt for a 2.5 count.
There needs to be something higher than a 3 count, which is like a knockout or a KO or something.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
And it's not a KO. It was a definite 3 count.
Okay.
But it's not. It's not our mid grade. It's not our top grade. It's between mid and top, in my view.
Okay.
So, no, it's not 4.5 stars. If it was on the 5-star rating system, it would have been between 3.5, 4 stars.
Okay.
Not that upper echelon, because the crowd piped in just took me out of it so much. Like you even said, you missed a huge pivotal point of the match. You missed the angle slam.
Yeah, I did.
You're like, what? When did that happen? I'm like, dude, there was a point where they were using other icons' finishers to prove a point. But what I think they were doing, I might be wrong, I think they were using the icons who critiqued about the match before it started, who were saying, who was going to win in their thoughts. They used them as, like, fodder against each other, which I thought was a nice touch. What I did enjoy, though, and I will say this, it lost it towards the end, but at the very beginning, it had a lot of rest holds, and it took a while to get going, I think.
Yeah.
But I loved the story it told. Like, Edge's ring timing was off. When he went to go grab Orton in a headlock and he grabbed air and slid on his ass. You know what I mean? Instead of dropping to his knees with a headlock, he went to go grab Orton and then he threw his hand around nothing. And you had that look of, Edge is like, what? I totally missed him. You know what I mean? Like, that playing on Edge's
time away or absence.
Time away, his absence, his self-doubt was something special that brings psychology into the match, which I am always a humongous fan of psychology. Like Paul Heyman, that's how I view matches. I love it. Like, if you broke your right arm, work on your right arm.
Right.
Don't work on the left arm, or don't keep damaging the left knee, but then they hobble on their right. You know what I mean? Like, it's very important little details like that. And you noticed new details tonight, too. Like, Orton was wearing snakeskin boots. Now, I don't know if that's new or something we just noticed tonight, but it was a nice touch to see the Viper adding levels to his character.
I have a question for you back in regards to how you rated it. Now, would you said if it was a 5-star rating scale, you'll give it 3.5 to 4.
Yes.
Now, are you penalizing it
for the crowd?
not for the crowd, but also the fact that it was marketed as the greatest wrestling match ever, and that it kind of set a high expectation.
Yeah, it set this really high expectation. I mean,
that also goes against it.
That's the thing. It gave me the lowest expectation.
But I mean,
because they used that word so blatantly. I'm like, That's a low expectation.
But what about the promotional pieces that they invested
wonderful.
to it? So
Wonderful.
they had Hall of Famers. I'm saying even before that, they had Hall of Famers weigh in on who they thought was going to win.
Yeah.
And they referenced a little bit of that in this match.
Yeah.
The build up package, the video package to it was done beautifully, impeccably.
It was.
You know what I mean? So it can draw enough to where it can draw you in if you haven't been watching the product for weeks. I thought that was a promising type of it built it up kind of like how boxers do title fights.
Yeah.
So if I had to rate it on a scale, I thought that helped it. You know what I mean? Like, because the build up was in my opinion, was great. It's something that you could easily see, easily pick up on. Like, who the babyface was, who the heel was.
Yeah, and the thing is, WWE, if it does one thing well, I mean, better than any company on earth, no one touches them, it's video packages. Their video packages are just something you could collect on a Blu-ray and watch them all.
Right.
They're so good for every feud. Sometimes the video packages are better than the feud. But, I mean, the best video package they've ever done, is the build-up for Austin and Rock WrestleMania X7.
Yeah.
The One More Time, with Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit.
Mm-hmm.
This time, I'm going to let it all out.
Okay.
This time, I'm going to sit up and shout. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to rival that with... this may be the sleeper greatest, but then again, as I'm thinking about it, I realize that I'm incredibly biased because I'm a huge Bret Hart fan.
Yeah.
But the video package to WrestleMania 26, it was probably the only.
Oh, Bret and Vince
was good.
I
love that video. I mean, I love it. The detail that they shot that and edited that with Vince McMahon saying, "If you want to fight me, fight me," and you see his reflection in Bret's glasses, and the fact
it was great.
It was great. The score to that was amazing.
Yeah.
And we'll review that match when we in our Retromania series.
Yeah, that video package was fantastic.
But that video package, in my opinion, was great because it's real and it's kayfabe at the same time.
How bad of a letdown was the actual match?
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna in our Retromania series where we review each WrestleMania. We're gonna talk about that one. So I want you guys to flag or pinpoint this part in this video because I promise you when we get there, I am going to defend that.
Yeah, because my second favorite video package is the one between Flair and Michaels for
the retirement match.
Oh my God!
Yeah, the retirement match.
They love that dog. And Old Yeller, this Sunday, I'm gonna take you Outback, put you out of your misery.
Ugh.
Like, oh my God, chills when I see that video package. It's so well done.
Okay.
Edge and Orton had some good promotional oomph behind it.
I got one to rival it. You may or may not remember it, but we'll get back to Backlash in a second. But the video package WrestleMania 14 for Undertaker vs. Kane.
Oh, that was fantastic. I will not face you, brother. Oh my God, I can remember. I'm recalling that right now.
Yeah,
that was a great video package.
Great video package.
That was better than. No, it wasn't better than the match. The match was really good.
The match was good.
Yeah,
match was really
and that's
good.
what I'm saying. So like, we've to say something is the greatest wrestling match ever, or to bill it as that. Wrestling taste is subjective, like anything else.
Of course.
So you can't be like, this was the greatest wrestling match of all time.
I'm curious to see what
some people it might have been tonight.
And I'm curious to hear what reviewers, YouTube bloggers, even the pundits and the people that I'm curious to hear what Dave Meltzer is going to say about it.
Yeah, I just took a look at Twitter. Man, that match is being hailed.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. I figured people were going to shit all over it because
of the obvious production pipe-ins.
I mean,
we heard Vicky Guerrero tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
It's unfair that the piping took us out of it.
Right.
It really took me out of it Maybe if it was on a lower number for volume, I would appreciate it more. Oh, there's Jeff Jarrett. And it's like, what the... I mean, I don't even know what to say because it was just so blatantly obvious.
Okay, so...
Like, they didn't even try to hide it.
Of course not. Of course not.
I mean, you might as well have at that point literally had nobody in the outside and just been like, we're using fake crowd noise. Go with it. Because you're insulting our intelligence by trying to even maintain the illusion, which there was no illusion. It was just blatantly, oh my God, there's 10 people and they sound like 3,000. Like, it was so insane. I told you, I was making a joke. I said, I want those 12 people in an NFL stadium tomorrow, and we got football back.
Yeah.
And you could even split them up 6 and 6, and they would have made the best crowd of all time, a Super Bowl level crowd. Like, incredible. But the match, it had the psychology, which I'm a big fan of, and that's something that matches lack today, I think. Matches are what you call finisher fests.
Yeah.
Good God, Sean. Get your eye fixed. I'm sorry, we're watching. I mean, he looks like a garden gnome now. Wow.
I'm gonna hold off on my reservations for Shawn Michaels.
I love Shawn Michaels.
Great talent, but yeah, that eye is getting scarier and scarier as he ages. Man. But aside from the greatest match ever, is there anything else on the pay-per-view
There's nothing else of any memorable of any memory. It was almost like I was joking with you too. We do a lot of joking, guys.
Yeah.
It was like they're going out of the way to make a really bad pay-per-view at first. We're like, wow, why is this just terrible? And it wasn't so terrible that it was like the worst matches I've ever seen, but there was just nothing that grabbed me.
You didn't like Jeff Hardy and Sheamus?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't a 4-star match like some people gave it. It was, a 2-star match, maybe?
You didn't like the Iconics,
Sasha. The Ninja Fest was really
the Ninja Fest. I mean, but that was a produced segment with the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits, but
Wayne's World dream sequences 3 times during it. I mean, that went on for a good 15-20 minutes.
Yeah,
it was long.
Yeah. Other than the pre-show, I share your sentiments. I thought Jeff Hardy and Sheamus wasn't bad.
Wasn't bad.
A decent watch. I did like Bobby the Bobby Lashley match, even though he loses again. And Drew McIntyre is really he looks like a real champion and performs like a real champion.
And he's suffering so bad without a crowd.
Yeah,
he's the one who I feel the worst for. Because
we just want him to get that long overdue standing ovation that you deserve it. That's not piped in.
He's worked so hard.
Sure
for
has.
It. And Bobby Lashley isn't bad, but they've done a really bad job of promoting him in WWE, so that it's been hard to take him serious. And I'll say MVP with him is in a step in the right direction. I don't mind MVP as his mouthpiece. It doesn't bother me. I would have been pissed if Lashley won tonight and took the title, because Drew is due a nice long title reign. It just sucks that he's getting it now, and his crowd may come towards the very end when he loses it.
But on a positive note, Nia Jax didn't hurt anybody tonight.
Oh man,
I love Nia Jax.
Wow.
By the way, I love me some Nia Jax.
But yeah,
but Asuka made it home safe. We can assume
Asuka will live to fight another day, thankfully.
And I think that was pretty much the pay-per-view.
That was
right?
basically the pay-per-view. Besides the travesty that was Miz and Morrison production-wise, where we got this horrible, like, Duran Duran style video of Miz and Morrison making their own song, which was just insanely bad. And there was nothing to write home about for the pay-per-view. Nothing. I thought the WWE Championship would we just talked about it. I mean, really was a short card with two very long segments, which would have been Edge and Orton was a very long match, it was about 45 minutes long, and then you had that produced gag Street Profits.
Oh yeah.
That went about 30 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's hard. It's a hard pay-per-view to grade. Other than the obvious main event, I can't give anything above a 2 count at all. It just no.
Two count it is. I'm gonna reserve my judgment on it because like I really don't have one. I kind of thought that I was watching a glorified Raw at certain points.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it just for other reasons outside of what was going on in the ring.
I enjoyed it for the personal entertainment value of poking fun and roasting it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And because, let's face it, we live in a pandemic era where you and I haven't seen each other for 4 months.
Just about.
So it's been a
the association made the pay-per-view worth it.
I mean, we've watched the pay-per-views and texted while we're watching them and whatnot. We did it with AEW. We did it with multiple WWE pay-per-views. And it helped, but there's nothing like watching it live with each other.
Right.
And, like, being able to feed off each other's reactions.
Yeah. So the experience itself of being able to watch it in congregation.
Yeah, like I will admit that the novelty of the Performance Center wore off very, very quick. Because I remember when I was praising them, if you recall, I was saying this is fantastic. Like this is how WWE should be sometimes. I like how it's not, crowd driven, and it's like what they were doing was really well done. I thought WrestleMania was a great effort all around. Wasn't the best results, great effort though. And WrestleMania is totally, again, a main event saved show. That Boneyard match from what was it, night two, or was it night one? Night one. That night one Boneyard match, man, that salvaged that entire show for me that night. Like it made it something so special. It actually had me very excited for night 2. And night 2 didn't live up to the hype, with the exception of the Firefly Funhouse, which was fantastically fun. I thoroughly enjoyed the hell out of that. That was awesome. And we still haven't even got the developments from that yet. Cena is still in the Funhouse somewhere. But we were talking about that. I mean, we jump around during our podcast and whatnot.
Very tangential.
Yeah, we're very tangential. This is a pandemic area of wrestling, and it's different now.
Yeah.
There are ways to do it right. There are ways to do it wrong. I said before the show even started, unequivocally, AEW does it so much better than WWE.
Yes.
It feels way more organic. Yes, they were the first ones who had people by the ringside area, if you recall. Mm-hmm. But they had members of their roster who were there at that night.
Yeah, and they're able to be themselves.
Yes.
And that ties into, the feuds and what's going on. You got gambling going on the side.
Oh, that was great. And they're 20 people, and they sound like 20 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're loud for 20 people, but it sounds like 20 people, and that made me happy because you're watching it going, they're not dumbing it down to me or trying to make me feel like I'm an idiot and being pandered to. And I loved it. Double or Nothing was a great pay-per-view.
Double or Nothing was
so impressive.
Yeah. Two thumbs up for Double or Nothing. I was thoroughly entertained from the top to bottom with Double or Nothing.
Backlash wasn't even close to Double or Nothing.
Not at all. Not at all. I think it's pretty unanimous here for us about that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm telling you, we're only 2 people, and we don't have the pulse on everything because I'm looking online and I'm like, oh, people are gonna rip this to shit. They're praising it. Like, I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like, a lot of people are saying that match lived up to its billing, the greatest match ever. I'm sorry. No.
Didn't see it, huh?
I didn't. Like, Flair and Steamboat, it wasn't. Austin and Rock, it wasn't.
Any Brett and
Angle
Sean.
and Benoit, it wasn't. AJ Styles versus John Cena at SummerSlam, which was one of my favorites. CM Punk and Cena at Money in the Bank is one of my all-time favorites.
CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio at Survivor Series.
That was a surprisingly good one, yeah. Yeah, or CM Punk and Taker. Jericho and Edge. There's so many to name. So to call it the greatest wrestling match ever, you can't. I think it's just such a cop out.
It exposes it for darts to be thrown at it. Yeah. Not that I felt like they did a bad job. I'm just saying, like I said earlier, you kind of you set big expectations when you say that, but I understand why they said it. Promotionally, everything worked for me. I was interested in it, and I just said if there's any two on the roster that's capable of having that you would expect.
Right
I can
now,
see
the current roster.
The current roster, yeah.
I was going to say, whoa, hold on. Yeah, it would be Edge and Orton. Or it would be AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
But okay, so...
Or any combination of those four.
Before this happens, hypothetically, if I tell you there's going to be a card, there's a card that features Edge versus Randy Orton in a regular match, and, AJ and Daniel Bryan, like you said... If I ask you which one is going to be better, which one's going to be the best match on the card, I mean, like you can make a case for both of them.
Daniel Bryan,
yeah.
I would have said.
Okay, but you can also make a case for the other ones too.
Sorry, tonight you can.
Definitely. So when you say like there's only a select few of who can have the greatest match of all time.
Or I'll be honest, like Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan.
But for the greatest of all, but they can have a great match. But would you consider them to have a good?
No,
because there's only two names that's on the current roster that I think that's capable of having the greatest of all time.
Now, the greatest match of all time has already happened. If we're gonna have to just grade them, like I would have to say, in all honesty, even though my personal favorite is Austin and Rock. WrestleMania 17, I loved it. Oh, by the way, there's 5 episodes, so there's one more after this. So my favorite was Austin Rock, but I would say...
Your favorite of all time?
Yeah, I would have to say basically my favorite of all time.
I want to rival that with Undertaker, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25.
That's my thing. I was going to have to be honest and say my personal emotional favorite of all time is Austin versus Rock, WrestleMania 17.
Yeah.
Because I was just legitimately blown away when that was live. I remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, I was nail-biting, edge of my seat with all the kickouts of the finishers, the stunners, the chair shots. I mean, it was like, what is it going to take to put these guys down? So incredible. Well, but I'll never forget when I would watch The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels.
Exactly.
I said, holy shit, it's like they both de-aged 10 years.
Exactly.
And put on the greatest wrestling match I've ever seen.
Exactly.
And they literally did.
They did.
And the only other time I can remember being blown away with a wrestling match that big was Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam. It blew me away when I watched it the first time. But, yeah, no, I have to say, honestly, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker round 1 at WrestleMania 25. Yeah. WrestleMania 26 is very good, but it's not 25.
Not 25.
25 was a near perfect match.
Not 25, exactly.
It was near perfect.
Exactly.
There was one flub in that whole match, and there was the botch when the Undertaker jumped over the ropes and almost killed himself.
Would you even call that a botch? I mean, like, obviously they didn't plan it out like that. But I remember thinking he broke his neck.
I thought he died.
I remember thinking he broke his neck.
I'm like, he lawn dart.
And then Shawn Michaels gets in the ring and begs for the referee to count. Like, there were so many things that went right in that match. And besides that, those guys, like, both of them are past their prime.
They were, and then
both of them in their 40s, 50s,
what, at that 50s. Point?
At that point, about late 40s.
Late 40s. Not Undertaker. He would have been. Let's see.
Either way, the older guys.
Yeah, he was older. Saying. He would have been in his. He would have been 40s, like early 40s, and Michaels probably would have been. Oh, I don't know. Jesus,
either one.
Back. Anyway, yeah, they were late in their game.
Yeah, or they're mid to late 40s. Either way, the older guys was able to steal the show, and I remember watching that at I think I was in Virginia watching that at Hooters. Of all places. And enjoying my wings, by the way, if you guys want to sponsor us. But anyway, I was watching it at Hooters, and everybody was glued to that match. Yeah. So much so that we didn't have energy for what came on after that.
No, yeah, that main event was shit on Orton and Triple H. Because it was supposed to be this emotional, roller coaster, right. But it wasn't, because you blew all the emotion on Michaels versus Undertaker.
Yeah. And that, my friends, is a great match. Greatest wrestling match ever. That.
I would feel like if I was like, okay.
You can make the same thing for Austin and Rock at WrestleMania 17.
No, I mean, again, that is my emotional standpoint. I love the production. I love the story leading up to it. I love the heel turn. I loved everything. I was so just shocked. I remember the energy of the Texas crowd when Austin turned, and everything was like, wow. I was so blown away. With the Undertaker match too, I mean, you're talking. You had Undertaker have one of his best entrances. You had Michaels have one of his best since WrestleMania 12, when he came down from the ceiling. But when Michaels descended from the heavens.
From the heavens, and Undertaker came from hell, allegedly.
Oh, man. I mean, everything about the match.
By the way, I only scoff at WrestleMania 12 because of the outcome of WrestleMania 12. As I mentioned earlier, I am a huge Bret the Hitman Hart mark.
It was the right outcome.
That ruined Recess for me the next day. On April 1st, 1996.
It was the right outcome for that year. But I think I would feel so comfortable saying Undertaker versus Shawn is the greatest wrestling match of all time.
Yeah.
100% I'd feel very comfortable.
There's some sleepers in there that I'm pretty sure I'll find or think of later.
There's so many when you actually start digging in to look. Like... Right. I mean, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan had some
I mean, but like, listen, Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, both of their matches.
Oh my God,
SummerSlam and the King of the Ring 1993. There's just so many, man. Like, and
Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13 or Survivor Series, both amazing matches. Austin versus Michaels, Austin versus Triple H. In the the three stages of hell.
Triple H versus Rock, and in my opinion, that was the greatest Iron Man match I've ever seen.
Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Because Shawn, you hate the outcome. It's taboo of WrestleMania 12. I think it is treated as much better than it actually is. I love the build-up. I love the wrestlers in the match. I love the circumstance. I like the entrances. But I'll tell you, to watch the match again is hard to get through.
Hasn't aged well?
It hasn't aged well. It's a chore to get through. It's really long. But it's a lot of rest holds. It's a lot of very super technical wrestling. Whereas Triple H and The Rock was great.
My favorite one. That's my favorite Iron Man.
Good.
John Cena and Randy Orton have a good Iron Man match too, but Triple H and The Rock.
That's the best one.
Woo.
And the ending's great.
Ending's phenomenal.
The Undertaker coming back when he's been gone forever.
Yep, and the disqualification that gave Triple H the nod.
How about the timing of that? Like, that was timed perfectly. The Undertaker and Triple H. I mean, the Undertaker chokeslam and Triple H.
Yeah.
It was perfectly timed.
Yeah.
Because it was at the last second.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I mean, they did everything so good.
Yeah.
I would feel comfortable with those matches. But honestly, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, I would say, is the greatest wrestling match ever. Oh. It's just so good.
I agree with that.
Nice. I watch it 100 times over, and I'm never disappointed.
And that spot, that botch spot that he mentions, creates so much climax to that match.
It makes.
Oh my God!
When you watch it live, if it's the first time for you watching it, you're like genuinely concerned how it's going to turn out.
Yeah. I thought the Undertaker broke his neck. I said he broke his own ass neck.
If we threw it on in the network right now, I would still be genuinely concerned because it sucks you in like that, and you're like, oh man, the emotion of that. It's just.
So what we want our loyal listeners to Smart Tank Revolution, if you haven't watched that match or the matches that we have mentioned, please watch them.
Oh, I'll point out one more. that is a sleeper, but I thoroughly believe it's in that category. Triple H versus Daniel Bryan, the first match of WrestleMania 30.
The opener? It was one of the best openers.
Frig, yeah.
Oh, fine. Brett Nolan.
Yeah, of course, WrestleMania 10.
So, yeah, guys, do us a favor. Watch those matches and then comment below which ones you would consider, or if there's any sleepers that we missed, what you guys would consider to be the greatest wrestling match of all time. Yeah. It has been great talking about this topic. We did briefly gloss over Backlash, but ultimately the greatest wrestling match of all time, we have unanimously agreed
we didn't watch it tonight.
We didn't watch it tonight. And right now, as it stands, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25.
So
I may wake up tomorrow and change that, but I doubt it.
I'm good with that.
So,
I'm very good with
if
that.
you guys have any input, please leave it in our comments. And, we're really good at answering them and reading them.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for listening. And please subscribe, like, and share.
Yes.
And we'll be back with more content in the near future. We have other videos and other interviews. Please watch them all and give us your feedback. That's Joey Business. I am the benevolent, intelligent Donnie Wonderful. We'll see you guys next time.